So a lot of people, especially in the samurai community, have heard of the 2000 film, The Twilight Samurai. It's one of Japan's most beloved films. It beautifully shows the twilight of the samurai era, where they were beginning to be phased out. Very few people, however, know that it's actually the first of an unofficial trilogy directed by the excellent Yoji Yamada. The Hidden Blade is the second film in Yamada's samurai trilogy, and it is just as thought-provoking and beautiful as its predecessor. It released in 2004, just 2 years after The Twilight Samurai. So just like with The Twilight Samurai, this film takes place during the Meiji era. This was just after the country was opened up to foreign trade, and it was around 1860. It was truly a revolutionary period in Japanese history. It is, however, not unusual for films to take place during this time period, and it's actually quite common. There's lots of films that show the corruption of the shoguns and local bosses, and they call into question the morality of the Code of Bushido. So in this sense, this movie isn't that unique because it shows all that. However, it is handled so beautifully and deliberately that I was very impressed by this film. The film is about a samurai named Munezo Katagiri. He's a good man, but he seems a bit out of place. He doesn't see himself as superior to lower classes, and he actually loves a woman from a lower class. However, being the good samurai that he is, he chooses not to act upon his love, because it simply isn't allowed. This ends up really bothering him, but he still follows the unwritten rules of society. However, when he sees his leaders behaving very dishonorably, he's stuck in a rut. He ends up agreeing to kill a rogue samurai who's actually his good friend, but the motives of his leaders still continue to disgust him. How will he end up handling them? And what about his love for the woman whom he cannot marry? If you want to find out, I highly suggest you watch this film. There was honestly a lot of surprises in this film that I didn't see coming. There's one big surprise, particularly at the end, and it was one I really liked, and I definitely didn't see coming. It involves something that builds up throughout the film, and you might not see it at first, but once it happens, you'll be thinking about it for days and just putting the pieces together. It's truly a genius film. I honestly want to watch this film again because it's that good. Out of all the surprises in this film though, the biggest is the fact that this movie isn't that well known. This is no doubt a top tier samurai movie, and I can even put this in with the likes of Kurosawa. The Hidden Blade has a lot going for it. It isn't just some action film, and there's actually a surprisingly small amount of action actually in it. It's both a love story and a film about morality, but even though it's on the slow side, it still has wonderful pacing and direction, and especially music. It all works together perfectly, and this film really ended up impressing me. It's just so beautiful and just so worth watching. After I saw this film, it kinda gave me the similar feeling to the one that I saw after watching After the Rain and The Twilight Samurai. With all those films, I just felt lost in them and forgot I was watching a movie. I hardly feel that way with movies anymore, and honestly, a lot of films that I watch now, I'm just constantly looking at the clock just to see when it ends, but not with this film. This one is special. As an added bonus, there's also some good humor in it. Just about any time the samurai were receiving training from one of their instructors, something funny happens. I actually found the love story in this to be interesting, and it didn't feel like it was tacked on by the studio. Also, the look of the film is just excellent. The houses, the scenery, or just the shots with the cherry blossoms, it's just a really nice film to look at. My only flaws with this film is that it could have had more fights. And there's this one really bad looking CGI scene. Like, there's only one scene where the CGI, but it's just so out of place and fake looking, and it's to the point where it could have been a funny gag in a comedy. The only thing is, this movie is very serious, so this scene is very cringy. And it's safe to say that I immediately lost immersion when I saw the CGI. It's that bad, and I hate CGI, so that's part of it. But luckily, it's only for 1 second, so it's not a deal breaker. So all in all, I found this film to be very enjoyable. I was not bored, it had great pacing, great visuals, and it had a really decent soundtrack. The acting wasn't noticeable and just felt natural, and it had a very similar feel to the Twilight Samurai. But I will say, I think I enjoyed this film a little more, and I think this one depicted the Meiji era more accurately than the Twilight Samurai did. You get more context into the problems of that time period, and it really speaks out to you more than the other film. Yoji Yamada is an outstanding director, and I can't wait to see the last film in his samurai trilogy. After that, I might actually seek out his other films, the non-samurai ones, just because I really like his style. I'd certainly recommend this film to anyone wanting to see a movie about this time period in Japanese history without it being overly bloody or having unrealistic swordplay. The hidden blade is very natural looking, it's beautiful, and it's one that pleasantly surprised me. Most importantly though is it needs more recognition, so make sure you check out this film. Definitely watch it. Anyway, thanks for watching guys, and if you want to find this film, the only place I know that sells it is SamuraiDVD.com. Thank you.